Hello there, everyone. Welcome back to the short Vort. We continue this week with Parshat Metzora. It is also Shabbat HaGadol, but I want to give a little love to Parshat Metzora. Because on Shabbat HaGadol, the focus isn't always on the Parshat HaShavua, but let's give it a little bit of attention right now. So, in this parsha, it discusses and continues what was started last week in terms of the topic of Tzaraat, and this week, in the middle of the parsha, it shifts to talking about Tzaraat that appears on the walls of one's home. And the halacha is that if a Tzaraat is truly found on one's home and it's decided by the Kohen that this is indeed truly a situation of Tzaraat, you have to actually destroy the walls of the house, and you have to then cast the stones outside of the machane, outside of the camp. Bottom line is, you really kind of have to destroy your home. It's not a very pleasant thing on the surface to get tzaraat on one's home. Yet when the Torah introduces this section of laws, it says, God spoke to Moshe and Aaron saying, Ki tavo el eretz Canaan, when you come to the land of Israel, asher ani noten lachem la'achuzah, that I'm going to give you as a possession, and I'm going to place an affliction of tzaraat on your house in the land of your possession. Yada yada yada. Then there are all these rules that are in play. But what's so surprising here is the way that the Torah phrases this. It's almost like when you get to Israel, I'm going to give you some tzaraat on your house. Cool, no problem, right? It's like, wait, I thought tzaraat is a bad thing that, because of your actions that are, whether it's lashon hara or immorality, stinginess. There are 7 reasons given in the Gemara for why someone would get tzaraat on their skin. I thought that tzaraat is a bad thing. And when it says natati, it's almost like, I'm going to give this to you. Like, it's going to happen. So what does that mean? Why I'm going to give you tzaraat on your house when you get to Israel? And so Rashi points out here that while the Jews were traveling in the desert for 40 years, there was a nation that lived in the land of Israel named the Amorim. Okay, they're one of the 7 nations. And they used to hide in the walls of their home, they used to hide gold. They didn't have banks back then, so they would hide their gold in the walls. Now, when the Jewish people would enter the land of Israel and ultimately conquer the land of Israel, reclaiming the land of our ancestor Abraham that was given to him, the Jewish people inhabit some of the homes that were left behind by some of these nations. And so the idea was that actually getting tzaraat on your house turned out to be a good thing, because it forced you to have to destroy the walls, so you would end up seeing behind the walls were pots of gold. And now you have your house, which had tzaraat, which seemed like a very negative thing, which was maybe brought about for some negative reason, actually turns out to be good news. That's what Rashi points out based on the Midrash. And what this Midrash is really teaching us is such an important lesson for our lives. That often we see things in our lives that appear to be negative, that appear to be something really, really not good, that make us reflect about what's going on, how could this have happened? And the reality is that sometimes if we just are more patient to see how things will play out, it turns out that what we thought was negative is really a positive in our life. And it's a lesson across the board for how we react to situations that are brought our way, whether it's in our social life, our work life, our family life, in our spiritual life, whatever aspect of life that we sometimes think, well, this isn't good. Maybe with a little bit of patience, we might actually have a different perspective that this challenge that happened in my life, turns out it actually was really a blessing. I just didn't see it right away. And it's good to be open-minded to think that way. I'm not saying in the moment that we shouldn't try to, solve our issues and problems, but sometimes with perspective, when we look back at life at the things that we thought were negative, it turns out God brought them our way, and it was really something quite positive in the end. And I hope that we're all able to look at this parsha, to look at this section, and to say, this is a lesson for all of us, for me, like that we're all going to have that perspective in life to pause and look back and acknowledge the good that sometimes has come out of areas of our lives which have been very challenging. May we succeed in shifting our thinking to this mentality, and may we be able to also see and recognize the pots of gold behind the walls of our challenges in our lives. Shabbat Shalom.